resources from now endangered species. That's not necessarily true. You could imagine the case where an endangered species today that was, let's say, hypothetically the dodo bird still in existence versus an extremely productive, or let's say the bee were to go extinct and we could reintroduce the bee or we could keep the dodo bird alive. It seems very clear to me that the de-extinction would outweigh the currently endangered species in this case, which is to say it's not so simple as to apply this paradigm, which you already admitted, but then we have to go one step further and say what are the possible implications of allowing this de-extinction when we don't fully know what all the implications are. So the next point, two, that you shouldn't focus on charming animals. This is interesting because your notion of human, but even if we aren't separate from animals in an environment, I do think that there might be good reasons that we could privilege humanity. In the same way that we could privilege companion animals that affect us, then perhaps the woolly mammoth reintroduced to the Arctic environment where not a single human being is living. The third point, actually didn't write it down. We'll move on. The fourth, ecosystem better. Not necessarily. You can look at reintroduction of species. And at the point where we've already established there's no way to know what the dangers are, you don't know that reintroducing them is going to be better for an ecosystem. In fact, it could collapse.
To talk on point three, your point three was to increase the standards for reintroduction, and you used the cane toad as an example. I tend to agree with this, but I would also say that you have to do a lot of ethical work in specifying what those standards are. Perhaps those standards are to help make the environment more healthy than it is right now, or to help out humanity in some way. But I think these have simply to say that we need to increase the standards we use. I think for ethical reintroduction, if it is to be ethical.
Your Anthropocene and deep ecology movements are very correct. It brings what humans do to the environment and how we affect animals right to our face rather than privileging ourselves at some sort of ideological tower. But we have to admit 99% and that doesn't mean that there's an impetus for us to bring them back to life. The course of natural selection and evolution, whether or not you subscribe to it, is a powerful notion, and to violate it.
If you only had a word or two, that would have done.
There you go. Okay, you've got a minute and then 5 minutes to respond to that commentary.